What if I told you that the most important real estate on Earth right now isn't a piece of land? It's a decision being made in Tehran. Not by a president, not by a general, but by millions of ordinary Iranians asking themselves a single question: what comes next? Stay with me for the next 10 minutes, because I'm going to show you why the answer to that question could determine whether China wins or loses World War III. Welcome back. If you caught my first video, you already know the argument. World War III has already started. Most people just haven't noticed yet. This is not a war of trenches and tanks, at least not yet. This is a war of alliances, economies, proxy battles, and strategic positioning. On one side, an alliance of democracies led by the United States. On the other, an alliance of authoritarian regimes led by China. Think of it like the Cold War, except this time both sides are playing much faster and the stakes are even higher. In my last video, I showed you how Trump's first major move was to quietly dismantle Nicolas Maduro's regime in Venezuela, cutting off cheap oil to China, setting Cuba on a slow path toward collapse. A domino fell, and most of the world didn't even hear it hit the floor. Today, we're talking about the second domino, and this one is much, much bigger. Today, we're talking about Iran. In an operation called, and I am genuinely not making this up, Operation Epic Fury, the United States and Israel launched a coordinated strike. That killed Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, along with approximately 40 of Iran's top military and political leaders, in one move. Now, I know what you're thinking, that sounds enormous. And you're right. So why did it happen? And more importantly, why now? Here's the key insight. This is called a decapitation strategy. While it sounds brutal, the argument is you potentially save hundreds of thousands of lives. No lengthy occupation. No nation-building disaster like Iraq. No decade-long insurgency that drains a treasury and breaks a military. Trump, it seems, studied George W. Bush's playbook, and then did the exact opposite. Bush went in, toppled Saddam, and spent $2 trillion. Trump's approach: take out the head, leave the body, and let the Iranians figure out the rest. Elegant? Maybe. Risky? Absolutely. To understand why the battle for Iran is so critical, you need to understand just how deeply China and Iran are intertwined. This is a strategic marriage of convenience. Since 2013, China has poured approximately $1.4 trillion into its Belt and Road Initiative. Iran sits right at the heart of that initiative. In 2020, they signed a 25-year cooperation agreement. Iran sells China oil at a steep discount. Iran accounts for roughly 11% of all Chinese oil imports. Iran just quietly passed the pain of sanctions on to the rest of the world and handed Beijing a bargain. But it goes beyond oil. China has been supplying Iran with advanced military hardware, not cheap knockoff gear, sophisticated anti-ship missiles and radar technology. When Operation Epic Fury decapitated the regime, China didn't just lose an ally, they lost an ally they spent decades and hundreds of billions building up. All those sophisticated Chinese-made weapons, the missiles, the radar, they didn't save Khamenei, just like they didn't save Maduro. It is frankly the geopolitical equivalent of discovering your terrifying bodyguard is all talk. Awkward. Now, here's where I need to pump the brakes. The military phase may be going well, but the political battle for Iran's future is only just beginning. Iran is a nation of 88 million people with a rich, proud, ancient civilization. The Iranian people are not a monolith. One name that keeps surfacing is Reza Pahlavi, the son of the last Shah. He has expressed his desire for Iran to become a constitutional monarchy. But Iran has a long and complicated memory of the Shah's rule. Convincing Iranians to embrace a return to the monarchy is not a guaranteed sell. What if a new strongman fills the vacuum? What if Iran fragments into competing factions? These are the scenarios policymakers are gaming out right now. Now let's flip the script. Imagine the best-case scenario. If Iran transitions to a government friendly to the West, the consequences ripple across the globe. First, sanctions end. Second, massive debts to China could be repudiated. Third, Iran stops funding groups like Hamas. Fourth, the entire Persian Gulf aligns with the US. And fifth, this is the big one. In the event of a Chinese move on Taiwan, the US could ask Persian Gulf nations to halt oil exports to China entirely. But here's the wild card: American domestic politics. Midterm elections are coming. Americans have the political attention span of a golden retriever. Nothing makes American voters angrier faster than expensive gas. This creates enormous pressure on Trump to end the conflict quickly. The old regime is gone, but the battle for what replaces it is just beginning. In my next video, is Taiwan next? And if so, how soon? See you then.